Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm making some Albondigas soup. I'm starting this is cold water with some salt, and I have 3 whole chicken carcasses in here. They're just, backs and with a little meat on them. There's not much meat on them. I pulled it all off. I pulled the breasts and everything off of them, so we can use them for something else. But we got the stock going. All I'm going to do is going to bring this to a boil, lower it to a simmer, and let this water simmer down. This is how I normally make my chicken stock, and I'm going to let this go for about 2 to 3 hours at a very low simmer to develop a good rich stock. I'm making Albondigas soup, which is meatball soup is what it is. Now, what I do is I grind my own meat. Now, you may think that's awful silly. Why would you grind your own meat? Blah, blah, blah. Here's the reason. Because I'm cheap. Realistically, that's the reason. Ground beef, I was at the meat market today. Well, not yesterday. I was at the meat market yesterday. And ground beef for just the 70/30, the cheapest stuff they had was $2.99 a pound. This stuff, which is bottom round, which is a really good cut of meat, they have it sliced for barbecue, because I go to a carne asada. So they have it sliced really thin for barbecuing, and you can see it's a fairly decent cut of meat. There's not too much fat on it, and that's only $1.79 a pound. So it's $1.25 cheaper. And some places will grind it for you. They usually don't have time where I go, so I do it myself, and I just like using my clean machine rather than using their dirty machine or whatever. So let me show you how I do this. Now, this might seem a little weird. When you grind meat on a KitchenAid like I have here, you tend to splash meat everywhere, meat juices. So I put my bowl into just a regular garbage bag, and then I get the bag, I get a piece of butcher's twine, I wrap it around the spout here, and just with the butcher's twine, just kind of give it a little tie and tie it on there. And this will make it really easy cleanup. And then I can just turn on my machine and start grinding. Now what I've done is I just cut all this meat in half to make it easier to fit into the grinder, so I just get a quick cut on it all. And it just falls right in now. And see, as you can see, this in under 5 minutes I ground. This is better than 80/20. It's fresh ground. I got 5 pounds of ground beef. It was really cheap to do it this way. Using the bag, I cut all the splashes, and I can still use this as a trash bag. I'll use it as a trash bag outside, so I'm not wasting. And there you go. That's how I grind meat here. So I'm going to get a little bit of rice going for the meatballs. So I'm just taking this stock I'm making and I'm just adding this right to that rice. This rich stock. Adding to the rice, and that's going to be the rice that's going to be used for my meatballs. I just made a cup of rice. So you can see my stock's almost ready to go. The chicken's all given all it's all basically to this stock, and you can see I got a little fat on top, but it's going good. So I'm going to let it go a couple more minutes. It's already gone couple hours, so just a couple more minutes and the stock's basically done. I will pull it off the fire and strain it. So here's that chicken I pulled out. These were whole chickens. There were 3 chicken carcasses basically, and you can see they've broken down to nothing. That's how you want your bones to look after you've boiled them in your stock. And let me show you what I'm going to do to strain that stock. Now I have these commercial containers. You can get these at Smart & Final. This is what I use to strain, basically to store my stock in. I freeze it and then I'll pull it out of this, and I'll only fill it up to like a gallon. After it's frozen, I'll pop it out of this and wrap it in plastic wrap and foil, and then put it back in the freezer, and it'll last 6 months. So when I make a lot, this is only going to be about 1.5 gallons, I'm guessing. So we'll see. I'm going to show you exactly what I do to strain out all the stuff out of it. What I use is just a China cap. You can get these online. This one I got online, I don't even know how long ago, a couple of decades ago. And I'll just pull the liquid and just pour it right through the China cap. Make sure I get all the fat chunkies and have a clear stock. Like I said, I'll only put 1 gallon, 4 quarts per container. Makes it, if you put it in the refrigerator especially, it makes it faster to cool, and you don't get any unwanted things growing in your stock. If you know what I mean. Any salmonella or any other diseases. And you see the China cap catches all those little chunky things. So as you can see, I do have almost 2 full gallons of stock. I'm only going to be using half of this for the soup tonight. The other half I'm going to put in the fridge and let it cool down, and then I'll put it in the freezer and freeze it. So I'll have stock for the next time I'm going to make some soup. So I'm going to make the meatballs. Now that I ground the meat, I got the stock done. So I got about 1 pound of ground beef. Going to add 2 eggs to that. Also going to add that rice I cooked earlier. I don't think I'm going to add all this. I'm going to add about 1 cup of rice. Maybe not the whole 2 cups. And then I'm going to add a little bit of just flat leaf parsley. Going to add some salt. 1 teaspoon of salt. Some of my own seasoning salt blend that I've made and you guys see me use. Some chili powder, about a good tablespoon of chili powder. And then some oregano. About a teaspoon of oregano. That's it for the spices. Also going to add some Tabasco, because I like the flavor of Tabasco. I've said that before. Add a couple, 3 shots of Tabasco. To bring out that real beefy flavor, add some lean pere. About a teaspoon. And now normally you would add breadcrumbs of some sort. Instead of adding breadcrumbs, let me show you what I'm going to do. I got my food processor, and I have some stale tortilla chips. Actually, they're not quite stale, they're still pretty fresh. Let me test. They're still reasonably fresh tortilla chips. So I'm going to add about a good handful and a half. I may not use all this, but that's what I'm going to add, and I'm just going to grind these up in the processor. So as you can see, I've ground those up, and they're really just like breadcrumbs. So I'm going to add a good handful of these to that, and then I will just mix this all up, see how we're doing with this. If I need to add more, okay, that's pretty wet, so I'll add all these. And that's a nice consistency for meatballs. Now I'm just going to portion these out as I would any other meatball, but I'm going to make them small. So I got a little, just to make little small meatballs as you would find in soup in any of the Mexican restaurants you would go to. Make little meatballs, portion them out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these in the oven at 350 just until they're cooked. And while they're cooking, I will prep the vegetables, get the vegetables going, and get the soup done. If you've ever had Albondigas soup, you know it's a thick, chunky, home-style soup. So I'm going to put a lot of vegetables in this, and I'm just going to rough cut everything. Meaning I'm not going to fine dice. I'm just cutting it the way you would get it, like if you went to a restaurant. You get big chunks of carrots and celery and zucchini in the soup, along with the meatballs. And you'll find celery leaves in it as well. So I'm rough cutting everything. I started with just rough cutting some celery. Here's some carrots. Again, I'm just going to rough cut these carrots. All I've done is give them a quick peel and cut the tips off them. And again, nice rough cut on these. So, quick, easy on these as well. And the zucchini. We're going to hold off on the zucchini because we're going to start the other stuff cooking first, and then we'll get the zucchini going a little later. Rough cut these onions really fast. Now all we do to rough cut these is just slice in the middle, and then just run them with the knife real fast right through. Now we'll get all this sauteing. Now this is the same pan I made the stock in, so I'm just going to get it hot. There's a little water in it from when I rinsed it out, so as soon as that water dries up, what I'll do is I'll add some olive oil to it. Okay, we'll just add some olive oil. And it's hot, so I'll just add all these vegetables. Throw a good pinch of salt right on top of the vegetables. And a good crack of black pepper. While the vegetables are cooking, I'll just get my zucchinis, quickly trim them. And I'll rough cut these as well, just by simply cutting them in half. And then cut them similar to how I cut the carrots, the celery. Just, again, just large pieces. Now because these cook so much faster, we're not going to put these into saute. We'll put these in towards the end of the cooking process just to let them get hot and tender up a little bit. Now for the cilantro, I don't need all of the cilantro, that should be enough. I'll just fine dice the cilantro. Perfect. You just get this in the same time I put in the zucchini. So the meatballs are done. So we're going to pull those out, let those cool. I have one baby meatball. You can see most of the fat that was in them cooked off. So they're going to be nice and lean little meatballs. So now I have 1 can of just tomatoes. So I'm just going to put them in here and just grind them up with the old stick blender. Into a, I don't know, whatever that consistency is. It's kind of like sauce. So I'll grind up the tomatoes, and then the soup has come to a boil, and I lowered it down, so I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'm going to add the zucchini and the cilantro. Give it a good stir. And I'm also going to add all these meatballs. I'm going to turn it back up to high. Let it come back to a boil. And it's almost done. Here's a brief cuteness interlude. Just a brief one. Hey, Brooklyn. Hey, little girl.
You gonna say hi?
You say hi. Say hello. Say hello.
She's wearing her cousin's clothes.
Yeah, she's wearing her cousin's clothes because she spit up all over herself, but she's very cute with her beanie on. Now let's come back to the simmer. We're going to add some oregano and some chili powder. A little of my own seasoned salt. And give it a good stir. We're going to let it simmer for about another 10 minutes until the zucchini are tender, and then we'll check it for flavor. And we'll go from there. So there, the soup's all done. Let me just give it a quick taste for salt. Yeah, it does need some salt. It's pretty lax. So I'm going to add a good teaspoon and a half. Give it a stir. So there you go, guys. Got some fresh Albondigas soup, lots of meatballs, lots of good vegetables, some sour cream, and cilantro as a garnish, some warm tortillas, and it's time to eat. Well, guys, again, thanks for watching. Have a great evening. God bless.